Red Clay Studio, owned by the artist Ibrahim Mahama.
Is she an actress?
No, they are all helping people.
No.
Yeah, don't worry. This is all the
So
same.
we begin from here, and these are medical stretchers. Yes, which was used in the 1930s.
So where did they get them from?
Yes, so these are replicates. It was used in the 1930s during the Second World War. Yeah, so during the war, whenever the soldiers are going to war, they take some of this along. They have medics who are there, so that if in case something happens to someone in the war, maybe the person is being shot or hurt or wounded, then they stretch it, bring it in, stretch it, and pick the person up. And that's why we call it stretchers.
Medical stretches.
Medical stretchers, yes. And this, like I said earlier, are replicates. So you know, the original ones then, because they used it for so long, the blood stains, the mud in the wall, he has replaced it with materials from fish smokers, mechanics, just to show, like, make it look real. Yeah, so these are replicates, and then the sizes of that tall ones and the second tall ones are just part of the art. These are the normal sizes.
So you will come. We take them.
These are the normal sizes.
The reason why the artist named it Ajmal is that, you know, Ajmal was the first artist to exhibit his art in this space. So that's why he decided to name it by his name. So that's why this hall is called Ajmal.
Answer is a name. He was an old shoemaker who helped the artists to gather the shoemaker boxes. Yes, and some of it are replicates too. And they gathered about 3,000 boxes. And if you notice, you see that these are not only brought out with boxes, but you can see crates. And also the fire armories. These crates were used by fishmongers. If they catch fish, then they store them in there. Yes, and also the fire armory was gotten from the south in one of the fire stations. Yes, and this whole artwork represents hard labor and survival. You know, during the time there wasn't much civilization. A lot of people depend on this. Let me show you one. During those days, you see guys holding this, and they'll be knocking on it, drawing people's attention. Shoemaker boys here, shoemaker boy. So that if in case your shoe is torn or dirty and you want to polish it, and they used this to repair and polish for you. So they used to repair people's sandals with some tools all in here. So it represents the hard labor and survival.
Hard labor.
Yeah. I see. Either they shine it
I see.
or they sew it together.
That line is hard labor and survival.
And the ice skating shoes you are seeing, when it comes to Ghana here, we don't have ice, and we can't also skate on sand, but we still find a way of making it useful. The fishmongers, they buy it, remove the metal part, sharpen it, and use it as a knife to cut fishes. Yeah. So the whole artwork represents hard labor and survival. And we move on to the next art, which are photos of women hands and also jute sack.
Yeah.
So on the woman hand, you can see a tattoo of her name written there. A lot of us grew up seeing these tattoos on their hands, but we never knew how come they wrote it there. So the story is this: during the time, some olden times, whenever women were moving from north to south to do the head potting work, that's the kayali work, they used to write these tattoos of their names on their hands for easy identification. so that when they go there and something happens to them, it's easy to identify them and bring them back. This one is just made up of her name, but some you see their name, their parents' name, and where they come from, Tamale. And the Tamale alone, when somebody sees it on your hand, the person will know that you are from Tamale. And so when anything happens to them there, they bring them back to where they came from for identification. And the jute sack here, you know, some time ago, Ghana was the largest cocoa production country in the world, but now we are the second. So these jute sacks were used to package cocoa and take it out of the country. So when they package the cocoa and take it outside the country and go to the port and pour the cocoa off and leave the bag, then they bring them back to Ghana. Then give it to the cocoa board people. Then they will also give it to outsiders in the labor market. Then they will also be using it for their own things like packaging of packaging of onion, maize, rice. So as they work with the sack for so long, it begins to lose its quality and start tearing, and that's how come you see here that jute sack is still new and here is dirty like that. So it also represents hard labor and survival, because the headquarters, they used to carry it to the ports, to the station where it will be transported outside. Yes, and also the bag she's the shoe. No, this or that. No, it was purposely built for the house.
But it kind of looks like a warehouse.
There are a lot of them just like this to go behind, and it's all bags for only cocoa packaging. During then, if you see one bag, you see one of this attached to it, which represented tax, which meant that tax has been paid on the bag. But now it's no longer common on the bags. Only the ones which they used to transport this cocoa that you can still see this on top. So it's just like now when you buy a bottle of water, you see these small stickers on top which represent tax. The same thing applies to these tag bars. In here, no. It's a replicate of the Parliament in Manchester. Yes, the artist went to Manchester to do an exhibition of his artwork, and then he saw their parliament looking like this, so he came and built a similar one to this one. And we do a lot of things here. Sometimes you can find kettles in here feeding on glasses. Sometimes it will be a dance performance here. Sometimes workshop, meetings, parties, anything you can think of in your mind.
Just more or less like a conference hall.
Yes. So that's why we call it the Parliament of Ghosts. It's like when you come here and then after you hear the story and then you also want to do something. And then you keep on thinking about it when you go home. So we call it as hunting. It's hunting you. And that's why we call it the Parliament of Ghosts.
So when your thoughts are hunting you?
Backs they use in building this place. Ever since they started it.
While building this one, then they were keeping all the cement.
Exactly. And some of them have been converted into huts. Yes, which is worn by constructors to carry mortar, concrete, blocks, and other things. And then the shelves too have been converted from beds, old SHS beds. Yes, which have been converted into shelves, and we call them the beds of dreams. You know, everybody has a dream, and whenever you are on your bed sleeping, you dream about it.
About what you want to become in future. When you're in school.
And these are covered with books, but you can't read that book, so we call it unseen library.
Wow.
And here we think of an antelope, while the other one is the skin of a sheep.
Can we touch it?
You can touch it.
Of course.
Okay.
These were usually used by chiefs, hunters, Muslims praying on it as a mat.
Priests and
Yes, and even the time there wasn't materials as clothes, people wore this. And this is more of the jute sacks, which he takes outside for exhibition. Yeah.
So
and then there's this one last one. Okay.
And the skin is an antelope skin.
Yes, that's this.
And the second one is sheep.
Yes.
We've all been through this.
Yes, because anybody who comes here, this is the interesting part.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've all been through this one.
Yes. So we call this one capital corpses. You know, corpses are dead things, and from the look of machines, you see that they are really dead. He bought it from scrap dealers. And over there you can see blackboards, which were bought from villages, schools in villages. And the day he bought it, what they were teaching in the class is actually still on top of it. And he's finding a way to maintain it.
This is the most recent.
Yeah. Yeah, so in future, you know, these blackboards are also fading out of the system.
Yeah.
Now they are using white marker boards.
Yes.
Yes, and the other side of machines. So this place kind of represents the formal education and then the informal education. Those who were lucky to go to school and those who didn't go to school but learned sewing. Yes, and the dexes too were bought from a school in Kumasi. You know, these dexes too are fading out of the system. It was introduced by the British when they colonized us. But now, most of the schools are using single chair, single table. Yeah, and he's not just interested in the sewing machines. He's interested in the sound that it makes. So after I explain, I'm going to own it. So to him, some of this sounds, it sounds like this grinding mills, local grinding mills, trains, zombies, zombie movies, and so many things which are still alive. And that's why he called it capital corpses, even though they are dead, but they still produce sounds. So to him, something can be dead and still produce something. Yes, so I'm going to own it.
Last one.
Some are being kept underground, some they will just stand.
Okay. The material keeps it cool, but it stabilizes the temperature.
Right. Fly here?
Before they brought it there, they dismantled it. They removed the wings and tail. Yeah, and kept it on a low bed trailer. Yes.
I see.
So all of them were brought from south. Only that one which was brought from the family. The first one.
Is there a story about this train?
And this one there has been renovated inside and turned into a classroom, like I said earlier. Which one?
The big one. Oh, okay.
Those are antelope driver.
The one that you push and to go and you don't know the one.
This one.
Yeah, he drives it.
Then he should go.
I did, not
in
this
America.
one. This brand was, no, in Ghana.
I got it.
There's like two brands. These are the older versions. These are super old. I don't think they run them anymore.
Okay. We can go inside and have a look at how they
Ah,
are.
you bet.
So you just hold the two sides.
Yeah, no, pulling up my jeans.
Yeah. Oh.
No free show here.
So, you are.
Are you going? Right, you know. Yeah, I'm in a train. Village boy. This is my last chance.